What's going on, guys? Welcome back, and today I am going to be sharing what I thought was a pretty fun concept. Now, after the previous reveal of the new LEGO Marvel minifigure series, or CMF series, or the MCU Disney Plus show, MCU minifigure series that LEGO is going to be releasing on September 1st of this year, I thought, what if LEGO were to potentially make a LEGO Star Wars minifigure series, also based on the Star Wars Disney Plus shows that have been releasing on Disney Plus. I just thought this would be fun as a Star Wars fan, and as a person who's kind of been more into the Star Wars stuff as of late rather than the Marvel stuff. I thought, what would LEGO realistically make at this point? And, with shows on the horizon that haven't come out yet, what if that show isn't out yet as of the time of this recording? So I kind of thought, okay, what are the Star Wars shows that are out currently, and what are the ones that have not come out yet that they may include in a minifigure series? Now, I kept this to 12 minifigures, just like the, MCU CMF series that's coming out, so I've kept it to 12 figures, and they are characters based on Disney Plus series, or the Star Wars Disney Plus series. So that includes Season 7 of The Clone Wars, The Mandalorian, which is not in here, so I might as well just say what I'm covering. I am covering Season 7 of The Clone Wars, The Bad Batch, Star Wars Ahsoka, that's coming out in the future, and the ObiWan Kenobi series, which I believe is the next one that comes out after Ahsoka. So starting off with Season 7 of The Clone Wars, I have included Jessie, or ARC Trooper Jessie, who is a pretty significant clone character in Clone Wars, and I believe is a character that, LEGO has not made in the past, and I believe that he is a pretty important character to make. I know a lot of people wish that he was included in the Darth Maul's throne room set, but I think that it would be pretty, cool for them to include him in a CMF series. So he would have dual molded legs for the kind of ARC Trooper, white and blue boots and all that. He would have the Republic logo printed onto his helmet, as well as his head print as it is seen in the show, and some kind of shoulder pad piece, or maybe just printed shoulder pads, I'm not sure. But I believe that he would be a pretty cool minifig to have included there. Then, moving on from him, in the other Clone Wars characters, I have Commander Rex, or Captain Rex, included. Now, I included Rex because it's been a long time since LEGO has made a Captain Rex minifigure, and I think it's about time they release a new one. I was considering putting him in the Bad Batch category, because he does appear in the Bad Batch, and he has a new costume, kind of with the cloak and all that, but I thought, we should just have, a kind of an old-school armored Phase 2 Captain Rex, and, I decided to kind of experiment and kind of be like, okay, what if it were to be a battle-damaged Rex, as we see him at the end of the Siege of Mandalore story. So he's got some, kind of scuffed up printing all over him. Maybe the arms have some kind of, ash marks from blaster fire, and just some scuffed up details on the minifigure, considering how much detail can be afforded to put into minifigures in a CMF series. And then what if there's a hole in his shoulder pad or his shoulder pauldron, because he does get shot in the arm in the Siege of Mandalore story when him and Ahsoka are trying to escape from Order 66. So I thought that all those details were pretty important, and I think kind of getting a new Rex minifigure, at least in some form, kind of getting a battle-damaged one, I thought that would be cool. Then I kind of included, this one's a little bit random, I guess, I included Admiral Trench, the Separatist general who kind of looks like a spider, and I feel like it would be cool to see him. It may require some new parts, a new head piece, head and kind of neck piece for the the spider head, and then kind of all the cybernetics that he has built into his body. Maybe they'd have to come up with a new piece for the arms, although it could be possible to kind of somehow use the Hagrid piece from the Harry Potter sets to create Admiral Trench. I don't know, there's just a lot of cool creative ideas on how I think they could execute this character, so I thought that it would be kind of cool to include him in a Clone Wars category of the minifigure series. And that's pretty much it for the Clone Wars category. 3 minifigures. In the CMF series for the new Marvel minifigures, each show has 2 to 5 figures. The What If series has the most with 5 figures based on it. And Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki only have 2, but WandaVision has 3. So I kind of went up to 4 being the max in this category, in each of these categories. Overall, there are 4 shows being represented, and there are like 2 to 4 minifigures in each of the categories. So then, moving on to the second show that's going to be included in this series, I have the Bad Batch. Now, starting off, this is like a completely obvious one. Omega, I feel, is a very important character to have included. She wasn't included in the Bad Batch shuttle. I feel like she's like a very important character. She's almost kind of the protagonist in the show, or has taken up that role inside of the show. So I feel like it would be pretty important to include her. It would be cool to get a new hairpiece for her. I could see them like reusing something like the Luke Skywalker hair, but I think it would be cool to get a new hairpiece. And then like some dual molded arms and dual molded legs, or something like short legs. I don't know, let me know. Do you think mid legs or short legs would work better for Omega? I feel like short legs would work better. I think it would be cool if they included like kind of a new mold for the crossbow that she took, or kind of the laser bow and arrow that she took from the Zygerians in the 5th episode. I could see them reusing something like the Hawkeye bow and arrow piece, but recolored, but it would be cool to get a new mold. Then moving on, we have a pretty simple one, Admiral Rampart. He's kind of the secondary antagonist to Crosshair, and he's like kind of the main kind of Imperial officer antagonist of the show, despite not kind of having much of a physical presence in terms of like threatening the actual protagonists. But I feel like he'd just be a simple inclusion for LEGO. He's a very simple character with very simple printing. He just has kind of a standard Imperial uniform. I feel like they could come up with a new hair mold. But other than that, like, I could see, a pretty simple face print. Like, he'd just be a very simple figure, and I feel like LEGO would kind of jump on that opportunity to include a pretty simple minifigure, and I feel like Rampart is just kind of like an obvious choice to include in like something like a minifigure series. Then we have Sid. Now, this one would be pretty cool. Her kind of jacket that she has in the show is actually very simple to the one that is seen on Han Solo. But I feel like they could kind of come up with some new printing, obviously make kind of a new head mold, because she's kind of an older female Trandoshan. So I could see them kind of making a new, like, larger mold for the Trandoshan headpiece. I can't see them reusing Bosk's headpiece. I think that would just be too small, because her kind of, the frills on her head kind of stick out more to the side, so I feel like they'd have to kind of make a new mold for her. And, but I feel like she's an obvious inclusion. She's kind of one of the, at this point, has become kind of a mainstay of the show, so I feel like she's an obvious inclusion. And then one that's kind of a little bit more obscure, Cad Bane. I don't know why I included him. I just feel like it's a possibility. Of all kind of the returning characters from other Star Wars media, he's the one that hasn't been included for the longest time. I think the last time he came into set was like 2013 or 2014, something like that. And he does have a new character design. It's not like they'd be repeating his design from the Clone Wars show. Like, he has a completely new outfit, and like with the head, with kind of the metal. I feel like they could do some cool things with a new minifigure for Cad Bane. I could have just left it at 3 and just had Omega, Rampart, and Sid, but I felt like kind of throwing in Cad Bane would be nice for people who haven't had the chance to get like a Cad Bane minifigure. I don't know. I don't realistically feel like LEGO would really include him, but I feel like he'd be a cool character to include in a series like this. Then moving on to the third TV show category, we have Ahsoka, the upcoming show. Now, we don't really know what the characters are going to look like, but we do know kind of some of the main cast members, including, of course, Rosario Dawson's Ahsoka Tano, who has not come in any of the Mandalorian-themed LEGO sets. And that's because I believe they're probably waiting for her show to come out. Like, they've included in the new Star Wars sets like Boba Fett and Bo-Katan and a bunch of other characters that have come in The Mandalorian. And I know that Bo-Katan's costume in The Mandalorian is slightly different from the Clone Wars, which is what the new set with her is based on. But, I don't know, I don't really see, like, a point in making just another version of Bo-Katan and putting her in a series. I feel like including the new version of Ahsoka, I don't know if she'll have the same costume that she did in The Mandalorian, but I'm going to say it's safe to assume that she will. So just kind of using the same kind of Mandalorian design, including, like, Ahsoka for the Ahsoka show, I think it just obviously makes sense. Then, secondly, for the Ahsoka show, Ezra Bridger. I feel like it's an obvious one. LEGO hasn't made an Ezra Bridger in a while, and I believe this one would obviously look older than the image I'm providing here. He'd probably have a beard or something. I've seen some kind of concept edits of like him with a beard, and I feel like that would be cool to see. I feel like, you know, it would be cool to get a new Ezra, like an older one. Like all the Ezra minifigures LEGO has made are based on his early appearances in Rebels, so I feel like it would be a cool appearance, or like kind of a cool character to include in a minifigure series. And yeah, like in the new Mina Massoud portrayed Ezra Bridger, I feel like that would be kind of an obvious inclusion, especially if he's actually like a main part of the Ahsoka show. Then moving on, another kind of obvious one, I feel, Grand Admiral Thrawn. They haven't made Thrawn in a while. The set that he came in from Rebels has been retired, and I feel like there's a lot of improvements they could make to that minifigure. I've seen images of him, and he's an okay minifigure, but I feel like there are a lot of kind of improvements they could make, like actually making the shoulder pads that he has, or like the epaulets and all that, like actually like kind of a mold or like a piece and not just printed on. I feel like there's kind of a lot of, and like dual molded legs, obviously, some arm printing, and maybe a new hairpiece. It depends on how he looks, because after Ezra jumped him out into the unknown regions at the end of Rebels, we don't know what happened to him. We don't know. Maybe he's going to look all scarred up or something after that whole experience, you know? So we just have to wait and see how he looks, but I feel like, you know, just in any form, Thrawn is an obvious inclusion in a Ahsoka-themed, like, category in a minifigure series. And then moving on to our last minifigures from the Kenobi series, we have, of course, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, this would be kind of an older Obi-Wan, based on kind of the transitional period between Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan and Alec Guinness's Obi-Wan from A New Hope, which is when this show is going to be set. So, you know, I feel like it's just kind of, you know, longer hair, kind of grayer hair, like kind of orange and gray transitional period. You know, I think it would just be a cool version of Obi-Wan to get. And then lastly, we know that Hayden Christensen's Anakin Skywalker is going to return in some form, and we know they're going to have another duel. And if they do, I assume it's going to kind of end kind of brutally in some form, and Anakin might get beaten up, or Vader may get beaten up. So I think it would be cool to get a remaster of the old kind of damaged Darth Vader minifigure that we got in like the early 2000s. You know, he had a pretty cool headpiece for like the damaged helmet, but I feel like kind of, you know, a new piece or something, and just kind of a battle damaged, scarred up Vader, something like that. Either like, I don't know, maybe make a new version of Anakin, or, you know, a new version of Vader even would be cool, but I feel like a battle damaged, scarred Vader would be a pretty cool one to include as is. It kind of the best of both worlds, because you got a bit of Anakin, you got a bit of Vader. I feel like it would just be a cool inclusion. And with that said, that's pretty much it on my concept, or my kind of pitch, I guess, for a LEGO Star Wars minifigure series. Now, I was just kind of really excited for something like this after the announcement of the MCU minifigure series, and I got kind of pretty excited for future prospects, including a Star Wars minifigure series. This is obviously a pitch. I don't know if this would actually happen. Like I said, some of them I feel like are unlikely, like Cad Bane, for example, but this is just me having fun. I just thought this is kind of a cool concept. Like, what if LEGO did make, you know, what if they actually did make a Star Wars minifigure series? I'm not sure if they will, but, you know, they're making an MCU one based on the Disney Plus shows. So I thought I'd do the same thing for Star Wars. I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of pitch or concept for a Star Wars minifigure series, because I certainly enjoyed making the video. But yeah, as always, you guys please let me know all your thoughts in the comments below, and I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.